For the past week, for the few weeks, the world has been ravaged by the drama of soccer biggest tournament being played in Qatar, the World Cup. On Sunday, it culminated in a breathtaking win for Argentina and its star player Lionel Messi. Today, I talked to my colleague Rory Smith about how the tournament's tiny beginnings were eclipsed by the thrill of the games and why this World Cup may be an unsettling sign of things to come in professional soccer. It's Monday, December 19, Rory. Hey Sabrina, how are you doing? Hi, I'm good. What's going on around you? I hear a lot of sounds. Yeah. So I'm sitting outside the Lusail iconic stadium, the venue of the World Cup final. I surrounded by a little battalion of kind of glazed-eyed policemen who are, I suspect, at the end of this shit and they are kind of going through what they've seen over the course of the evening. There's an endless paradise of journalists coming out of the stadium milling around, all with an equally glazed expression, and this is just the detritus of the global media. There is a last few kind of, hey, detritus, what are you calling detritus? I included myself in that. There are little groups of people who've been worked in hospitality coming out stuff at the stadium leaving. You know, the game finished a couple of hours ago, but it's a big place and there's a lot to do after games. So these are kind of the final few people starting to make their way home after the World Cup. You know, I was trying to prepare for this episode, Rory. I keep hearing in the next room my husband who has watching the game shooting for joy. He was just really, making a lot of noise and at some point I just give up preparing for the episode because I thought I have to go in and watch the rest of the game. So it was really unbelievable this game. Yeah, you couldn't help but be swept away by it. You had this kind of extraordinary story unfolding of Lionel Messi. Everything seems to be smooth sailing, but World Cup in general are never smooth sailing. So friends come back and in 2 minutes everything falls apart. Then you have the tension of the last few minutes of the game as friends try to find a winning goal. Argentina are on the brink on a sort of national scarring really something that would haunt them for years. They make it to extra time. Messi scores what everybody assumes is the winning goal, what he assumes is the winning goal, what the fans in the stands assume is the winning goal. Then the French go and score again. So you had penalties, and a penalty shootout is the most exquisite sort of torture anyone has ever come up with in sport. I think so painful. You know, there are going to be one or three extremely unfortunate billions through no real fault of their own. And then this curiosity of the World Cups that the soccer isn't encrypted and it's its glory, like all sports. So a guy called Gonzalo Montiel, who's a relative unheralded but obviously quite successful right back steps up to take the kick that shows through history. He scores. Then Argentina melts into delirium and jubilation and the sort of the sea of humanity. He scores. The Argentine end melts into delirium and jubilation and this sort of sea of humanity. Messi collapses to his knees and Argentina for the first time in 36 years are champions of the world. And Lionel Messi arguably the greatest player who's ever lived, has the one trophy that had always eluded him. I don't think I allowed to say the word on the daily. I think that would be very offensive to all concerned. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I was totally swept up in the Messi story because he's the player of my lifetime, and I feel genuinely privileged to have seen him play in the flesh, and I felt he deserved it. I was totally swept up in the Messi story because he's the player of my lifetime, and I feel genuinely privileged to have seen him play in the flesh, and I felt he deserved it. Yeah. So yeah, I was impatient because I am reported, but this feel like the right ending. So, Rory, when the World Cup first started, we had our college Tariq Panja on the show, and we left the conversation with Tariq asking the question, what would the world remember about this World Cup? Like, would we remember the migrants who died to build the stadiums and build the infrastructure to hold it? And now I think we can pretty confident say the most people will remember this World Cup for the win of Argentina, of Messi, and not really the boost leading up to it. Yeah, you have this dual narrative, don't you? Of Messi's incredible journey at the age of 35 to the trophy that he's wanted for his entire career that seemed to have eluded him, in addition to the most remarkable final of all time. And to be honest, it seemed unlikely at the start of the tournament that would be how this world did ending, because those first couple of weeks, as you probably remember, were dominated by what I'm sure the Qataris would refer to as testing problem. We had the issue over whether beer could be sold in stadium. There were fans who were turned away from games because they were wearing T-shirts or hats or whatever it may be with rainbows of them, and that was seen as trying to promote LGBT rights. We had the contempts over whether certain European teams would be allowed to wear an armband. And I see it as how FIFA and Qatar were really determined to stand the authority of the tournament, to make it the World Cup as they wanted it to be without any of these pesky questions over equality and human rights. But by doing so, I felt a lot like they were drawing more attention to those issues, and really what got them out of the mess that they themselves had kind of made was the sport. That once the World Cup gets underway, the eyes of the soccer community in particular are drawn to the game themselves. So early on in the tournament, here at Lusail, in fact, you had one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history when Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, which was, looking back now, seemed remarkable and at the time was jaw-dropping. The result kind of set the tone for the first 10 days, certainly on their tournament when it was followed by Japan beating Germany in this remarkable 5-minute turnaround and then doing exactly the same thing against Spain. It just felt like the rules were upside down, like gravity had ceased to apply to all of these things. Yeah, and after a while we started to see that the ultimate example of this in Morocco. Nobody had really seen Morocco as a contender in this World Cup. And then the turning point was they beat Belgium. If Morocco beat Canada, they would win the group. Morocco duly did that, and that tees up what looks like a slightly unfortunate last 16 game with Spain. One of the biggest names in European soccer, one of the pre-tournament favorites and team full of established stars. But Morocco, through a mix of intensity, grit, and refusal to lose a no shortage of talent, held Spain to a draw, took them to penalties, and beat them. Incredible.